To know that I'm building a business that contributes to so many lives and allows people to get them to work, to at least survive before they can get to that point where they can now strive. I take a lot of pride in that, and that's one of the things I'll never shut up and say, oh, let me shut down and go back to London. What for? How many lives am I contributing to in London?
Hello everyone, it's Iveoma, your guide to Africa, and today I am sitting with Demi Samande. Well, she's a returnee who moved back to Lagos, Nigeria to manufacture furniture. So I'm so excited to talk to her about her journey. All of this is coming up. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. Those are amazing ways to support my channel. Thank you. You definitely inspired my move back. You really did. Because it was very inspiring. So why did you move back, Demi?
I've never lived in Nigeria.
Same.
Fantastic. So I think what motivated me to move back was actually a family member who suggested that there was a gap in the market for fine furniture making, which is what I was predominantly doing in the UK after I graduated in architecture. So when I came and I did actually in fact see there was a gap in the market, I thought let me explore this a little bit. And to be honest with you, the weather was encouraging for me. So sort of growing up in the UK where the weather is not the best, coming here and I was just like, every day is summer. I was like, yes, I can do this. And the energy in Nigeria for me is really magnetic. The people are super, super energetic. There's always something going on. There's always something to make you laugh. It's chaotic, but the weather definitely was one of those motivations that kind of just said, yeah, I can definitely try and do this.
So like, what difficulties did you have setting up your business?
Oh wow, I'm going to list them all for you. It's quite a lot. The first thing I experienced was the language barrier, and I've worked very, very hard in trying to bridge that gap. I'm very, very intentional about it because without the people, I can't run a business.
Language like Yoruba and Pidgin?
Yeah, so Yoruba and Pidgin. Even with Pidgin, I still struggle with Pidgin till today, but I feel like I'm a lot better. I've come a long way. Can I just say this? My Yoruba is on point. My Yoruba is, from where I was till now, is magnifique.
Did you understand a little bit or like?
No, so I've always struggled with it. So growing up, my parents don't speak Yoruba to us. They never spoke Yoruba to us. So we didn't grow up, really understanding. And I think as I grew older, my cousins, my much older cousins who moved to the UK, Yoruba is their first language, were very, very persistent. So they'll speak Yoruba to us and they'll tease us when we don't understand. And then I think as I matured, maybe sort of around the age of 19, 20, I started taking more of an interest. So once I started taking more of an interest to understand, and then having moved to Nigeria, I was like, okay, I need to learn to speak. I started hiring staff and I didn't understand what they were saying. So I have to be very intentional about, okay, speak to me in your native language and let me worry about understanding. So the majority of my staff speak Yoruba. All of them speak Pidgin English. I'm still working on the Pidgin English sometimes. Sometimes I get thrown off. But the Yoruba has definitely come a long way, and I find that it's really helping my business because the moment they think I don't understand something, there's a breakdown in communication. So I can't always move forward with the business at hand. But once that language barrier is sort of removed a little bit and they can see me trying to come to their level, the momentum is there to do business. It really is.
You're right.
Yeah, so it definitely helps. So it's not bad if you don't, but it definitely will help you if you can.
Okay. Wait, how long did it take you to...
I'm still learning.
Wait, let's actually start. How long have you been doing furniture making? We're sitting in her chairs, by the way. Look at this. This is some beauty. This is beautiful.
This is our signature Chesterfield wingback chair.
I love it. It is
Yes.
wonderful.
So,
How long have you been in the furniture business?
so I have been furniture making since early 2010, I believe. 2010 is when I started taking it seriously as a business. Having graduated in the UK from university, I was just playing around with furniture. It started as a hobby. So I was playing around with leather furniture, playing around with these particular types of designs, Chesterfield's wingbacks. And then by 2010, I decided I'm going to register it, and then I'm going to start in terms of putting together a website. And
Register
all
it
of that.
in the UK?
In the UK, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been furniture making, furniture restoration now, going on 11 years.
Okay, what year did you move back to Lagos, Nigeria?
So I initially came to Lagos, I believe 2016
Okay.
was when I came to do feasibility studies. And I said to myself, okay, let me find out, if I can really fit into this market. And I believe by 2017 is when I now said, okay, I'm going to go pack a bag and stay here permanently.
So let's go back to, what are the difficulties that you had setting up your factory, setting up your business in
Oh, wow.
Vegas?
We've had some stories. But I get it, really, for me, the beginning was the language barrier. The other part for me is understanding the limitations in the market. So in London, for instance, if I want to make a chair, I get on my computer, I look for my suppliers, I order my products,
Yeah.
I have them delivered. If I have to go pick them up, I go pick them up. If I'm looking for a craftsman, I know how to send that CV, get him in, give him a test, hire him. I go and do something else. I leave him to do what he needs to do. Here, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't quite work like that, guys. You need to be hands-on. So here, the biggest problem for me after the language barrier was I didn't have all the resources that I was accustomed to having. It was difficult for me to get the right types of leather. I'm leather trained. So going into the market, I couldn't go on the internet and say, let me go and order, 10 sheets of aniline leather that's going to come in for this order. I had to enter the market, walk for hours, looking from different suppliers, trying to find the right product, go in there with my magnifying glass, and they thought I was crazy, by the way. Because when I choose leather, I go with a magnifying glass, because leather is not just about what you see. Mm-hmm. It's about what is actually really inside the leather, and the hidden signs that you don't necessarily know how to distinguish between good leather and bad leather. So I would enter the market with my magnifying glass to really study what has gone into to compose and to make the hide of leather. And there was a lot of inferiority in the market because it's a market that's very heavily price driven. So suppliers are not necessarily buying the best, because a lot of them don't even know what they're buying. They're told, this is animal skin leather, so they order it, not necessarily knowing the grade of what they're ordering. So if I say to a supplier, what is the grade of this? He has no idea.
So that's why you have to go with a mic.
So I have to go in there myself and be very discerning about what I'm picking from the market. The same thing goes with wood. Again, language barrier. Wood in Nigeria, majority of the time is named something else.
Yep.
There are things like mahogany, which is the same all round, but again, within that, there's different grades. So you go into the market, there's wood like Iroko. I never knew what Iroko wood was. What is the equivalent in the UK? I didn't know. So really going in there and studying the limitations of the market, trying to understand, what is available and how I can bridge the gaps between what isn't. That was a struggle for me. And to be honest with you, it still is a struggle. But I think that between when we started and now, we're coming along much better than we were 4 years ago. A lot more people are entering the industry now. A lot more innovation is going on. A lot more suppliers are broadening their ranges of products.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, they are. It's slow. But it's moving in the right direction. And I think that really just comes from people really understanding what they want, and the suppliers being willing to basically make it available.
What is your advice for returnees who see what you're doing and they're interested in kind of doing the same thing?
I'm a big fan of just throwing yourself into the deep end. That's what works for me. And I think that individually everybody needs to understand what works for them. We don't all move at the same pace. But I think for entrepreneurial spirit to really flourish in this part of the world and in this market, you shouldn't think about it too hard.
Just do it.
Just do it. I'm a big fan of that, and I feel like even when it goes wrong, you learn. You learn as you go along. Don't sit in Japan. Don't sit in America, New York, in your little apartment thinking, well, I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to make business work in Nigeria if I move back yet. Well, you're not going to figure it out sitting in New York, darling.
It's true.
What you're going to do is you're going to book a flight. You don't have to commit to the whole journey just yet. Just take that first leap. Come and experience it. Come here. Try to understand the space in the market for you. Try and understand what you could possibly bring to the table that we don't necessarily do very well. But you won't do that from there. You have to come.
You have to come.
So the first thing is come to the environment, study it, try to adapt yourself to it, try to learn from it, try to just immerse yourself into the process. I'm of the opinion that if you jump in, you'll figure out how to swim.
Yeah.
You're not going to drown. You just won't drown. I think, and even when you do drown, I don't believe in failure. I believe that you learn as you go along, and if something doesn't quite work, you've learned so many lessons from it that you can apply to something else. I know lots of returnees, they come, they try it out for a few months. It's, oh, I can't cope. It's too much. The mosquitoes. The mosquitoes.
The heat.
But, you know, for me, it's like, you know, I just throw myself in, figure it out, surround yourself with people who are going to motivate you in that process, and just learn. You can't fail. It's not possible to fail. So come, don't be afraid. We're not going to bite you. Africans are the friendliest people in the world.
They really are.
You've seen my videos. I go into the market.
Yeah.
I interact with the area boys. They're my guys. You know, if you're really willing to embrace the process is going to embrace you. It sounds like a cliche, but trust me, it's not. You just have to be willing. You guys, come on now. Get out of that apartment in New York. It's not all that.
I kind of love that advice. Just come down.
Just come. And if it's that bad, you can always go back.
Yeah, that's
But
actually a
just
good
come.
point.
But more than likely, if you're really an entrepreneur and you're really somebody who's really driven and really dedicated to making sure whatever dream you have in your mind, you want to bring it
Here.
you want to bring it into reality and fruition, you won't fail, I don't believe.
So, like, okay, let's talk about, like, why did you start your YouTube channel and podcast?
Because of this.
No, your podcast, Susu Podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's so inspirational. And you're really talking to so many, like, manufacturers and other business owners.
Yes.
And I just love the conversations that you're having. So can you talk about that?
All right, so with Susu, the idea behind Susu was that I just believe that there's so much power in our stories. There's so much power. The way that you just told me now that you're inspired by, I don't know, a 10-minute video that I perhaps put on YouTube, just talking about my story and documenting that story.
Yeah, I was really inspired.
That for me is something that I feel that we have a responsibility to do as Africans, as people who are trying to really make a difference and contribute to the growth of Africa. And I think one of the problems that we've had, and one of the deficiencies I think Africa has, is we don't own our own stories.
Yeah.
And it's so detrimental to our growth, because if I saw more people like me, I wouldn't be so scared.
Yes! Literally, that is why I make YouTube videos.
Honestly,
Yes.
if I heard more stories that mirrored me as an individual, I would naturally be braver. It's because I don't see enough. Like yesterday, like I told you, I met a fellow manufacturer. This is the first female manufacturer I've had on the show. And funny enough, I watched her video 3 years ago, and she inspired me. And I watched her little video, which was not great quality. There was no huge production behind it.
It's only content.
It was just content, and it was raw, and it was real, and it was just her and her story. And that was enough for me. And, you know, I was actively seeking more of those stories, but I struggled to find them. Now, if I had so many of those who were actively touching on all of their issues and all of their difficulties building their process and building their journeys, I would be like, oh, well, why do I need to suffer this? Because I'm just watching her story and I'm already learning from her experience how to do it better myself.
Yes.
That's why I started Susu, and I think you will begin to realize that there's nothing that unique about your problems, because we're all going through it, and if we all share it and leverage off each other, your problems won't be so grave anymore. They won't be so big.
I loved everything you just said, every word you just said. It's exactly why I think it's very important to document, like, my beginning.
Yes.
And what I'm going through right now and how I'm handling it.
Have you watched them back?
You know, yes, because there was a day, for a couple of months ago, I was like, why do I even do YouTube? What is this? Like, there was
that moment.
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, like, it's taking me 10 hours to upload this video for what? And then, like, it's blowing through data. What's going on? And then, so the area I was in, I didn't have Wi-Fi. I didn't have home internet for, like, from June, like, 19th to, like, July 4th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it was just over the top. Like, I was like, you know what? Let me take a break. And then my friend sent me a video of, like, when I first started, and it was horrible quality. Like, the camera was shaking, and it was just all over the place. And I was like, oh my God,
You've come a long
so
way.
excited. Yes, I've come a long way, but I just watched myself and I was like, wow, I was so excited about this. There's a reason I moved back. There's a reason I'm dealing with this daily frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason, and I forgot the reason. I think it's so normal
But
to
that
forget.
happens,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's, a lot of the time when people do ask, I remember my mum saying to me, why are you doing videos? Are you not busy enough? Yeah, even my husband was
You
just
are
like,
super busy.
I am busy. My husband says to me, there's so much you're trying to do. You're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. I'm like, do you know what? I don't want to ever feel that there was something in my heart I wanted to try and I didn't do it. And then just looking back at my own journey, and I'm reminded that, you have come a long way because we forget.
Yes.
I'm so busy sometimes, and I'm so involved in the moment and so involved in all the chaos, a lot of the problems. I'm constantly problem solving that sometimes I don't see the progress like you may see the progress or they may see the progress. So I need to remind myself. So when I watch those videos back, I get to see my growth in real time. And I think for me, that's really powerful. So imagine what it's doing for somebody who is in New York and has seen in real time, not the perfect, I'm an entrepreneur, look at my success,
A lot of
but look at my failures.
Yeah.
Look at the insecurities I had along the way. Look at the problems I had to face.
The frustrations.
The frustration. But if you're an avid viewer and you're somebody who comes back to the channel, regularly, and you're keeping up to date with what we're doing, you subconsciously you see that it's not rosy, but it's progressive.
Yeah. A lot of people show you that glamorous side.
There's a lot of glamour. There's a lot of glamour. And I don't subscribe to it personally because I just feel like, well, it's not really deep enough.
Nope.
It needs to go deeper.
It's shallow.
It's very shallow because it doesn't really teach you the grit that is required. There's many conversations going on. There's a lot of people who want to do entrepreneurship these days. They want to jump in, and whether it's creating content, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's buying and selling, whatever it is that you want to do, many people want to try things. But the grit is a very big part of it. Now, I'm not a big fan of delaying your process or delaying your journey because you don't have the answers. No, I think jump in, figure out the answers along the way, but also understanding that you have to have a level of dedication to that process. Giving up should not be an option.
I love that you said that. Giving up should not be an option.
Shouldn't be an
So when people board that plane to come back home, just like do or die.
I packed a bag. I said to my mum, there was a video the day I left.
Yeah.
I have that video.
Yeah.
My mum was praying for me, and my sisters were like, oh, don't go. My youngest sister struggled with it the most because she's like my child, right? So we had a moment where she was just like, are you really going? I don't really believe you're really going. I'm like, I'm going. But I'll be back. I'll visit. And even till today, they always want me to come back. But I knew that day because I packed everything. I didn't just I said, I'm going to go and do feasibility studies. I did the feasibility studies. I went back, but I went back to pack everything. I shut down my studio in London. I put all the rest of my products online to sell. I said, Mum and Dad, it's been great. It's been awesome. I packed a bag and I left. And I've not gone back since.
That's amazing.
And I think that resolve that I came to very early on is probably the one thing that's allowed me to stick at it. Because I already knew it's going to be hard. And I guess because I knew it was going to be hard, I was ready to just face it. And I'm still facing it. There's moments where it's just like, oh, really, guys? Sack everybody. Everybody just go home. Honestly, we have those. Do we not have those moments? We have those moments where it's just like, we can't do this. But then every day you come back and you try again, and it gets easier. Then it gets hard again. Then it gets easier again.
So have you had a moment though that you're like, you know what? I'm going back to the UK.
Oh no, never.
You've never had that moment.
I might go to VI. I'll say that's it. I'm going to Ikoyi. Or I'm gonna travel to London for a week to have a break. Or I'm gonna go to Dubai for a week to have just to rest and take my mind off it. This is a mission for me.
Yes.
I know it's my life's work, and that sounds really dramatic when I say it.
No, it's actually not dramatic. It's true.
It sounds like, it just sounds so serious, but for me
it is serious.
For me, it's very serious because more than just making furniture, I want to train people to earn a living for themselves and to be independent, and then for other people to go on, so that the industry can change for the better. So that when we tell the story of Africa, it's not a story of lack. It's not a story of less than. It's not a story of insufficient. You know, it's a story of we have the talent, we have the skills, we have the motivation, we have everything we possibly need to create a life for ourselves and a reputation for ourselves that
Absolutely.
can be respected. That's and it's almost like the thing I love so much about what I do, but it's also the thing that frustrates me the most.
Yeah.
Because when it's not working that way, you beat yourself up and you're just so sad and sometimes torn down. But no, I've never said to myself, because I'm having a bad deal, because my compressor is down, I'm going back to London. No.
How does it feel like to have employees? Because when I came here, I didn't realize, I mean, I knew your setup was kind of big, but when I walked through your factory and I saw all of these people, I was like, wait a minute.
So I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
Some are working from home.
Wow.
And we plan on having more.
Also, how does it feel to grow during COVID? This must have been a very difficult year for you.
It is a difficult year. It's been a difficult year for a lot of businesses, and I think for manufacturers particularly, it's been very difficult. But I thank God, and I'm a very spiritual person. It's been emotionally draining, financially strained, but we've hired.
That's kind of amazing.
We've also hired people,
Yeah.
and it's difficult sometimes when you think about payroll. You're just sweating. You're like, oh Lord, another month, another big chunk of money that you've got to pay
Because they
out.
depend on you.
They depend on me. But you know what? As much as that can be, it can be heavy, I also take a lot of pride in it. And one thing I said to myself was, I'm never going to be one of those employees that can't pay their staff.
Yes.
There's never a time when we don't pay our staff.
Thank goodness.
That's important for me, because like I said, it's not just about the furniture. For me, it's about the people as well. I like to know that I'm contributing
in a positive way.
In a positive way, yeah. You know, and it's, you know, in a little way that I can. I know it's not enough for the people. Nigeria, people are going through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, businesses are strained, but the people are even more strained. The individual homes are going through a lot. I can't imagine what it's like to come to work all day, work, you have light, you're doing your job, you're sweating, you're putting in the hard work, and you go home, your house is flooded, and you have no light. I can't survive in that, or at least
yeah.
I don't want to have to survive in that sort of situation. But many people here do. The majority do.
I know, the majority.
The majority. This is why I'm saying the glam that you see online about entrepreneurship is so detrimental to the real story, because that's not the real story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
The majority of people here go through a lot. And I think for me, to know that I'm building a business that contributes to so many lives and it allows people to get them to work, to at least survive, before they can get to that point where they can now strive, I take a lot of pride in that. And that's one of the things I'll never shut up and say, oh, let me shut down and go back to London. What for? How many lives am I contributing to in London?
Your impact is so much bigger here.
Now imagine there's thousands of us.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that's what we're doing. Like, this video people are watching, like, we don't even know who's going to be inspired and just follow our journey and then come back as well.
That's what you want.
That's what we want,
That's
because so many people have said so many when I told people I was going back to Nigeria, the reason, okay, so let me tell you the reason I started watching you. I told a lot of people I'm going back to Nigeria, which is my first mistake. I should have just kept my dream to myself, honestly. And people just told me the most horrible things. And then you were one of the few people who came back, were building a business or expanding your business here, and you were showing the good, the bad. You were just being really normal about the journey. And I'm like, she can do it. I can do it too.
Of course. And more.
And more.
Yes, and more. That's
that.
the most important thing, and more.
It's so exciting. Like, it's I think it's a very exciting time to
it's
be
an
here.
exciting time in Nigeria. I think genuinely it's an exciting time in Africa.
Yes.
There's so much, people are questioning more now. People are demanding more. And people are now trying to bring more to the table.
Yep.
Which I think is really, really amazing. How I knew, earlier I mentioned that from 4 years ago, things have changed. They're changing slowly, but they've changed. There's some production that we're doing at the moment where we needed some technical skills to be able to do a certain component of a chair that we're doing for a client. And I was just like, oh, okay, I need to try and figure out how I'm going to get this, because we don't have the facilities, we don't necessarily have the machinery to achieve it. And usually I would have outsourced it. But because of time limitations on delivering the project, I couldn't outsource. So I was just having a conversation and talking to somebody, and I said, I need this thing done. And they were like, oh, just send it to me, I'll send it within my group. And within an hour, 3 companies that have been set up in the last year who are doing those specialized areas, who are making those components, who have those machines, are now establishing in Nigeria. So I'm saying things are moving in the right direction.
That's amazing.
At least one or two of those people are returnees that have brought that idea into Nigeria and now setting it up and making those services and those things available to people in the market.
I love that.
Now we need to have more of that.
Yeah.
Because if we had more of that, if I could just call somebody in Ikeja and say, okay, I need this component from my manufacturer, can we collaborate on this? Why would I need to take my money to China? Why would anybody now be telling the story of things that work in Nigeria? But of course they work in Nigeria because Mr. Tunde, Mr. Ayo, Mrs. Fiona is doing it in Nigeria. So you don't need to look outwards anymore. So we just need more of an influx of those people to come in, those ideas to come in, and that dedication to make them work.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What kind of skills do you think that people need to bring back? Especially, let's focus on manufacturers.
I think specifically for manufacturing, we need people who are well equipped in terms of technology, machinery, understanding how machines work. Because, in 2020, we're now approaching 2021, the rest of the world, the Western world, are using machinery to really grow business exponentially. So if they're able to grow exponentially, why can't we? So if you are in the UK and you're doing mechanical engineering and things like that, and you know how to run a CNC machine, you know how to even build a machine, that's the type of skills we need, because you can bring that into Nigeria. You can start manufacturing machinery here.
Wow.
I would buy it. I wouldn't need to go to China. I certainly wouldn't need to go to Italy because they're robbing us. I wouldn't necessarily have to go to Germany because somebody can build it here. And there are people who are trying. You have local fabricators and things like that. But more than just building machines, how do you run them efficiently? How do you sustain them? How do you do the housekeeping? How do you take care of those things? People who are heavily invested in machines here are still flying in foreigners every time they have a problem with it. Come on now.
Yeah.
So you go to school, you're learning, how to run machines, you're learning how to build, you're learning how to physically make things with your hands, you're learning upholstery. Come and do it here. Come and do it here. Not just do it here, teach others here how to do it so we can become self-sufficient. So I think an array of skills doesn't just pertain to manufacturing. If you're a hairdresser that has in very innovative ways of doing hairdressing, bring it here. The market is here. You might have to work on the pricing a little bit. You can't be charging New York prices, darling.
No way.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no type of skill that we do not need here. We have a huge labor market. So there's a lot of laborers, there's a lot of people who could do the physical, carrying and all of that. But can you do the thinking? Can you do the fixing? Can you do the problem solving? If you can do the problem solving and invent things that make the society a lot more easy to get things done quicker and better, more efficiently, that's the type of skills we need across board.
Wow, I love that. I didn't even think about that.
There's a lot. There's so many. Even if you're making slippers, but you're making slippers in a very different. If you're making slippers faster, quicker, using better resources, if you're able to make something out of nothing, bring the skills. The market is huge. The sky can fit everybody. And Nigeria needs to not only get to the point where it can be self-sufficient, but can get to the point where it can now start supplying other people.
Yes.
We make things here and we send it out like the rest of the world is doing. That's where we are at the moment.
Do you have anything, like any advice that you would just give the returnees or anybody watching?
My advice is stop seeking so much advice.
Yeah, just do it.
There's nothing I can say to you. It's not about telling you what to do. You have to come and experience it yourself. And sitting there on your computer seeking all the information, I think it's fantastic. Watch the videos, of course, learn and seek the advice, but don't leave it at just that. There has to be a point where you have to take a step and actually do something. You're not going to find the answers. I don't know what it takes to be you in your industry, doing what you're trying to do, trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve. So I can't tell you how to make you work in achieving your dreams. I can only tell you what I've done for mine, and I can only tell you that for me personally, it's in doing, not by talking and not by seeking constant validation and motivation from somebody else. After 30 minutes, another 30 minutes will pass, and I guarantee majority of people watching this will go back to what they were doing before.
Yeah, that's true.
And won't necessarily do anything. So the question is, okay, whatever is stopping you from motivating yourself and always looking outside for motivation, whatever is stopping that, you need to fix it. You need to work on that.
That's hard though.
It's very hard, and even I'm going through it.
No, I'm working on
But
that
you have
now
to be
too.
intentional about it.
Yeah.
Yes, because when things go wrong, sometimes motivation can't help that.
Most of the time, motivation doesn't help. Motivation only helps in the beginning. So you have to actually find the internal reason why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Or not doing what
Or
you
not.
feel you want to be doing.
Yeah,
So
you're
what
absolutely
what
right.
is actually stopping you from booking a flight and coming to Africa? Mosquitoes, okay.
It's really fear for them, I
It's
think.
fear. So I guess that's the word I'm looking for. You need to find whatever it is that is scaring you so much and deal with that, because that's the underlying problem. It's not so much about how many motivational videos can you watch. The more you watch, the more you be no. You can watch them for years, but you have to deal with whatever it is that you feel is stopping you from taking that step, and whatever stops you also from sticking to it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's really
tough.
hard.
It's a lot of, it's self-work, and I know I do a few videos on this, and I touch on it sometimes. I don't always go in it too much, because I think sometimes I'm still very much in the process myself, so I don't want to say too much. But I think that self-work is really, really important, because doing business is not just about the business.
No, it's not at all.
You have to change as an individual, and you will change. You have to change as an individual. You have to grow into it. And I think that the sooner you understand that it's an emotional journey as much as it is a physical journey and a mental journey and a financial journey, the emotional aspect is huge. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how big that is. And it's ongoing. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens in 4 years. It's an ongoing process. And I think you have to have that resolve at the beginning to know that. You have to know that. You might not know what's going to happen, but you know you're going to go through this emotional roller coaster of a journey, and you have to change and evolve as an individual in order for you to be an entrepreneur and to come and do business in this environment. It's a spiritual journey, but we're not going to go into that today.
Oh, Demi, I love chatting with you. I think people are going to get a lot out of this, for real. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I want you to come back home.
There you go.